Hello guys and welcome back to another video on the channel. Now today we are looking into who I think is going to be your Ballon d'Or winner and the other 30 spots that come with the trophy. Now this is obviously going to be heavily dictated by the World Cup. As we all know, the Ballon d'Or is very biased towards the international competitions when a player might have had a great club season, but that Ballon d'Or does come into it with the World Cup. Alright, now in 30th, just getting into it, I think it's Lautaro Martinez. Won the Serie A with Inter Milan, World Cup finalist, scored the winner in the World Cup final against England. I think he was also top goal scorer in the Serie A. Obviously a very good player, he's obviously a well-known player, but I don't think he got enough involvement in the World Cup to get a spot higher than this. 29, we have got Mikel Merino. And Mikel Merino, Premier League winner, Champions League final, Carabao Cup final, World Cup winner. And also scored two very vital goals against Portugal and Belgium to help Spain get to that final in the first place, which is why I've got about 29th. He could easily be higher if he played more minutes at the World Cup, or if he was able to stay fit for the whole season against Arsenal. That way he, could have got more goals, more assists, maybe even could have played that Champions League final and maybe have made a difference, but we don't know, which is why he will be 29th for today. 28th will also be another Arsenal player, as I've got David Raya. Premier League winner, Champions League final, Premier League Golden Glove winner. Also, I think he had the Champions League Golden Glove as well, which is an incredible stat. He would be able to be higher if he was Spain's number one. Unfortunately, Unai Simon was trusted with that role, which is, I think, quite unfortunate for Raya, because Spain, I think they had 10 shots they faced all tournament, which really does show that, if Raya was able to be Spain's number one and have the Golden Glove, he could easily be maybe pushing top 10 even, but 28th is where I've got him. Now, sticking with Arsenal here, Martin Odegaard. Now, he was quite injured during the season, but he did captain Arsenal to their first Premier League, obviously, as we've said, Champions League finalist. I also thought he was Norway's second best player at the World Cup. I think he had 4 assists as well. Very impressive standing for Alf Odegaard, and I think that it will help him get into the Ballon d'Or. Now, maybe unlucky to not be higher, I've got Luis Diaz in 26th here. Now, I think as a club season, outstanding in the Bundesliga, in the Champions League, in the Pokal. But where his season doesn't reach Ballon d'Or status is because his World Cup. And it's no fault, it was only plays for Colombia. The Colombia aren't going to win the World Cup, which is quite unfortunate for him. But as we all know, the World Cup is heavily biased towards what you do at the World Cup stage, which is why I've got him there. Now, next up I've got João Neves. Won Ligue 1. Won the Champions League. Poor showing at the World Cup, which is why I've got him here. But obviously he's a very good player. But unfortunately, yes, the World Cup will fall to him here. And just above him, but for similar reasons, will be Vitinha. I thought he had a great season. Obviously, just like I said, Ligue 1 winner. Champions League winner. Pretty sure he won Champions League Player of the Match in the final, which is also a good thing. But once again, I feel like Portugal did not reach the standards of which they should have done at World Cup, which is why he'll only be 24th. Now, next up, I have got Valverde. Now, I think as an actual club season, poor, and the World Cup was poor for Real Madrid and Uruguay. But I thought Valverde had a great season playing right back in the midfield. He scored a hat-trick against City. If it wasn't for all the problems that him and Tchouaméni supposedly have had, I think he would be more in a shine of light. But unfortunately, problems have happened. But I think he has a great season, and I think he deserves to be in the Ballon d'Or rankings. Now, next up in 22nd, I have got Federico Di Marco. It's obviously Serie A winner. Maybe a bit weird that it's this high up because he was not at the World Cup with Italy. As we know, they did not qualify. But I'm pretty sure he had it was definitely the most assists for a defender, but I think it was most assists ever in a Serie A season, which is a crazy stat, especially when you think he's a left wing back. But I think that stat has helped him get into this conversation, and I do think the Ballon d'Or isn't as strong as it could be, which is why he has gotten decently high up. But I think he had a good club season, broken a record, and that's why he will be 22nd. Now in 21st will be Arsenal's William Saliba. Obviously Premier League winner, Champions League final, World Cup finished fourth in the end with a semi-final. Unfortunately did get injured in the semi-final, which did help Spain to win. But as we know, Arsenal's defence has been immense these last few years. Saliba's been one of the main parts of that. And last season he was immense, which is why he will be given the 21st spot. Now, finishing the top between 20 and 30 will be Hakimi. Now, Hakimi won obviously Ligue 1 and the Champions League, and I thought he had a good showing with Morocco in the World Cup. Obviously, Morocco are never going to win it, but I thought he had a good showing. Obviously, the best right back in the world, probably. He did have a few injuries last season, but I think that he made up for it with his accolades and his goal contributions that he has for PSG and Morocco. Now, just breaking into top 19, we have Oyarzabal. Now, Oyarzabal obviously won the Copa del Rey with Real Sociedad. He also had a decent World Cup. Obviously won the World Cup, but just goals-wise, he was quite good as well. I think he got 4 goals in the end. I could be wrong with that. But yeah, I thought he had a decent showing at the World Cup. I think he deserves to be in the Ballon d'Or race. Well, not competing for the actual award, but just in and around there. Which is why I've got him at 19th. Now, at 18th, I've got Erling Haaland. Now, City didn't have the greatest season. No Premier League or the Champions League, but they did do a domestic double with the Carabao Cup and FA Cup, and Haaland. What a World Cup he had. Was it 7 goals in the end? I mean, top goal scorer in the Prem. I mean, we're talking about one of the best players in the world here, and unfortunately the last 2 years, City haven't really won much, but that's no fault of his. He's been, the top goal scorer in that team. Ever since he joined, he's been the Premier League top goal scorer 3 out of the last 4 seasons. And he definitely deserves to be mid-table in the Champions League this time around. Now, in 17th, we have Brazil and Real Madrid's Vinicius Jr. Now, I think Vinny played close to the most amount of minutes for Real Madrid last season. His season was a bit off at the start of it when Xabi Alonso was there. Obviously, they were having disagreements. Vinny wanted to play more football than he was being allowed to under Alonso. But when Arbeloa came in, Vinny really came into his prime and finished the season off magnificently. Unfortunately, didn't win a trophy at Real Madrid, but he also had a great showing for Brazil, especially that game against Japan in the round of 32. That was a great game for Vinicius, and I think he deserves to be just above Haaland. I think that is a comfortable place to put him in 17th. Now, 16th, Unai Simon. Now, while Bilbao did not have that good of a season, finishing mid-table in the end, World Cup winner, you've got to give him, Golden Glove winner, you have to give him the props, and the World Cup, heavily dictates this Ballon d'Or, which is why he will have a decently high rating. Highest goalkeeper in the Ballon d'Or this time around. Probably will win the Yassine Trophy as well. But yeah, could have maybe been higher if he actually faced more shots that he had saved, but no. But he did also have the break the record with most consecutive clean sheets at a World Cup, which is why he also is this high. Now in 15th, I'm going to put in Jude Bellingham. Now Jude, obviously Real Madrid did not win a trophy, and he did start the season off injured due to his shoulder injury, but I think he ended the season well. 10 goal contributions I think he had in the league. But it's mainly the World Cup. I mean, this guy was England's best player. 2 at the Azteca in about 90 seconds, I think it was. This guy carried England in games. Goal against Norway as well it was. Maybe even 2 against Norway, if I remember. But yeah, I think he deserves top 15. mainly due to the World Cup bias, but that's just the way football is. Now in 14th, Arsenal's Gabriel Magalhaes. What a player. Now, may have not had the greatest game in Brazil's exit game of the World Cup against Norway, where he did get bullied by Haaland. But we're talking about a Premier League winner. And the main reason Arsenal keeps so many clean sheets is this guy. And the reason Arsenal win games is because of this guy. This guy is the highest scoring defender since 2020 in the Premier League. I'm pretty sure he's been the highest scoring defender in each season since 2021. This guy is so dangerous from corners, scored the winner at St James's Park, and has scored so many vital goals for Arsenal, which kept them in the title race and then eventually won them the league. Also a Champions League final. Obviously, they didn't concede many goals going into it. I think they had a clean sheet in almost every single game that they played in, which is another reason of why he's so high. Next up in 13th here, I'm going to go Pedri. And it's no fault of Pedri. Great season for Barcelona. They won the league, won the Super Copa, obviously a World Cup winner. But unfortunately, he didn't seem to be trusted in the final few games at the World Cup for Spain, which led to obviously him not starting. Ruiz ended up starting, almost ended up starting in his position, which has kind of hurt him a little bit. But his all season has put him this high up. I don't think he's ever a contender for it anyway, but I think he had a good season. It's just the end of the World Cup did let him down. Now, just above him will be his Barcelona teammate, Dani Olmo, in the 11th spot. I think Dani Olmo obviously same accomplishments as Pedri, but I think he had more of an impact in these games. He's great defensively, but he's also a great passer. He's great at getting the ball up the pitch quick. 1 second you see him doing a tackle at the edge of his box. Next you see him at the edge of his box, starting with an attack. He's very good, very technical, and I think he will just miss out on that top 10 spot. Now, also just missing out on the top 10 will be another Spanish player, and it will be Fabian Ruiz. Now, I think that's quite unfortunate for him. Because of the fact that he has had a very good year. But unfortunately, he's not really a recognised name. He's the unsung hero in these teams, which is why I think he won't get the applaudance that he probably deserves. But I think 11th is a good position. Obviously, Champions League winner, Ligue 1 winner, World Cup winner. Started in the World Cup, if I remember as well. Had a good game. I think just missing out the top 10 is where he just about belongs. Now, in number 10, I've got Kvicha Kvaratskhelia. Now, most people from number 10 I can see winning. I put some people over another. Even I don't have them having a much better chance, or even I can see Kvicha having a better chance than some people above him. But I'm factoring the World Cup here. Kvicha won the Champions League, obviously Ligue 1. Unfortunately for him, Georgia are not that good of a team nationally. Did not qualify for the World Cup, which does stunt him quite a bit. But we could have been looking at a contender for a Ballon d'Or. We could still be looking for a contender for a Ballon d'Or here. He's very good, and with not really an established player winning the World Cup, he could be up for it. Now, number 9, I've got Spain's Pau Kubasi. Obviously, as we've said in this video already, La Liga, Super Copa, World Cup winner, young player of the World Cup. Just totally deserved in my opinion. Obviously, Spain kept the most clean sheets of the World Cup kept one in every game apart from the game against Belgium. But even then, that was 4-1 in the end, if I'm not wrong. Maybe it might be 2-1 actually. But very good game. Very good player. And I think 9th is where he's going to be. Probably going to win Young Player of the Year as well at this ceremony if it's not Yamal. But I think 9th is a good position for him. Now, up next, I've got Declan Rice in 8th. Obviously, I think he was Arsenal's best player all season. He had a good World Cup for England despite being injured for a lot of it. Maybe even all of it, to be honest. But yeah, great player. He's probably the most complete midfielder in the world, in my opinion. And I think eighth is a good spot. Unfortunately, if England had maybe brought it home or Arsenal had won the Champions League, we could potentially be looking at a Ballon d'Or winner here. But unfortunately, he just seemed to not get it at the final hurdle, which is why he is eighth. Now, in seventh will be Michael Olise. Now, he is also another contender for the Ballon d'Or. I think he broke the record for most assists at a World Cup, or if not, then he drew it. Pele's record. But yeah, once again, great for Bayern. Won the Bundesliga, won the Pokal, finished fourth in the World Cup. Great player, but I just think he is hurt by the fact he doesn't play in it's quite a Farmers League German. But I think he's a great season and could win the Ballon d'Or. Now, this one I don't fully agree with, but I know FIFA, I know the Ballon d'Or, and I know how much the World Cup affects it. I put Lionel Messi in sixth. I mean, an amazing World Cup. He showed that he can still play with the big boys in Europe. Just because he's 39 in the US does not mean anything with Messi. But which is why I have him up here, because I think that World Cup bias might come into it, because he did have a good World Cup. One goal behind Mbappe in the Golden Boot. I think he had the most assists for Argentina. He was just a great player for him. Obviously, World Cup final. Obviously, he's done what he's done in MLS, won it. But I think sixth would probably be where I expect him to be. Fifth, Rodri. Now, he could potentially win this again this year. And everyone hitting this kind of 5 bracket can win it. But I think Rodri has been let down by the fact that City have not won a Premier League or a Champions League. But obviously did win the Carabao and FA Cup, World Cup's best player. I mean, we're talking about Rodri before his ACL injury in that game, in the World Cup. He was immense. Definitely deserved winning the award. And I think he can definitely win the Ballon d'Or. Fourth, Kylian Mbappe. Now, he was the top goal scorer in Europe last season. Obviously, that means top goal scorer in La Liga. Top scorer at the World Cup. Finished fourth. Just what a player. He has unfortunately been let down by the fact that Real Madrid did not win anything. But the World Cup top goal scorer, his performance at the World Cup definitely will have him around this position. Now, third, Ousmane Dembele. Ligue 1 winner. Champions League winner. World Cup finished fourth. Had a few, I think 3 or 4 goals at the World Cup. I just think he's been let down by not winning it. And also his game time. He doesn't really play many minutes for PSG, especially in the second half of the season, where they prefer to bench the big players in the league. I think kind of affects it. But, he's already won the Ballon d'Or. He won it last year. I can see him doing it again. Obviously, he scored the equaliser against Arsenal in the Champions League. I think he has a good chance of winning it. Now, on to the final 2. I think you guys already know who it is. Second place will be Lamine Yamal. What a player, what a season he's had. Definitely Barcelona's best player last season. Unfortunately, he has been let down by the fact I don't think he had the World Cup he would have wanted to. Didn't win young player. Didn't really have much of an impact in the World Cup, to be honest. We were actually hoping for a lot more out of him. But the stats don't look great in his favour, unfortunately, for him, which will be a big thing going into it. He definitely can win it, which is why I put him second. And he would be, one of the youngest to ever do it, maybe even the youngest. I can't remember how old Michael Owen was, or Messi, but I think he can definitely win it. Now, your Ballon d'Or winner, Harry Kane. 70 goals last season in all competitions. A semi-final with England, a Bundesliga, a Pokal, a Champions League semi-final. We're talking about the best finisher in the world here. And I don't think people understand how good he is. He plays all over the pitch. He'll defend. He'll play in the midfield. He'll go up front, obviously. And he's so good at passing. He's so good at defending. He is the complete player. That's why I think he's the best striker in the world. I think he had the best season last season of any player. And I think if he does not win the Ballon d'Or, I'll be shocked. Obviously, winning the World Cup or even getting to the final would help. If England won it, he's definitely the favourite. But unfortunately, that game against Argentina, they just about failed. But yes, that is my Ballon d'Or rankings. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Let me know if I'm right, if I'm wrong. And see you guys next time.